I told you earlier, and I feel like if I mention it, it's not going to happen, and if I don't mention it, it is going to happen. So I'm just going to mention it and hope that it doesn't happen. But they're testing the fire alarms in our building today. And so just like every 15 minutes or so all morning, there was just like the most piercing beep. And then I would think that it'd be over, and I would literally like chat to Sarah and be like, oh, thank God it's finally over. I can like focus on my day. And as I would type it, it would always beep. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but just like literally all day there's been intermittent ear-piercing beeps, much to Woody's dismay.
Yeah. How's Woody doing through all of this?
Well, it's been a real, like, and like I mentioned, the window stuff was going on and everything.
Yeah.
And
is it still like, 6 feet of snow in Calgary, or are you okay? Have you dug yourself out?
It is snowing today, but we have windows now at least, so that's good.
Right, step
but
one.
Then the guy was like, I'm going to come back tomorrow and just like finish cleaning off the windows now that they're in. And he never did. But then like the couches were in the kitchen for like a week because they couldn't be in the living room. Like, it's just been utter chaos. What I'm saying is my life is very difficult and painful.
Right. And so where does the pod kind of fit into the difficulties and pain of your life these days?
Well, I mean, I don't know if anyone's read the title of the episode yet or not, but throughout the ear-piercing fire alarms, I was doing possibly the most daunting research well, maybe not quite, maybe not as bad as all the small things, but this is a beast. So it's really been, it's really, I don't know, like truly.
I like the struggle for you though, in terms of the fire alarm interrupting your workday, wasn't that you weren't able to do your day job. It was that your like deep Reddit dives for this song. And I have another question, which is, do you think anyone does listen to the pod without glancing at the song title first? Like they wait and they actually love our clever vamping and lead up so much that they don't want to. They don't want to spoil the surprise?
Do you think? I don't know. I mean, let us know, nation.
Maybe we should stop putting the song title in the title of the episode, and it should just be like,
"Oh shit!"
You just got to roll the dice. And in that sense, the way that the pod is like very much a tasting menu for me, and all these sort of various treats and squabs that you bring for me to enjoy or to pain me with, that could be everyone's experience. It's just like
something else I've noticed through my in-depth market research, that is just being online 24/7, is that there are also some people who only listen to like songs that they like, which is first of all insane because everyone knows the best episodes of this podcast are of the shitty songs.
Yeah, totally. So stop listening now, I guess is kind of what
like
you're saying.
If you only listen to the good songs, it's just like, ooh, they wrote and recorded this one in one afternoon. Like, there's too much information actually about the song, and it's so boring. It feels like school. But then when there's like nothing to talk about, we can just go on a 3-hour journey to hell, and that's way better.
Right. I mean, you don't get the like snake funeral vlogs of rewatching your own snake funeral vlog in an episode like this, unfortunately. Right.
But at the same time, there's a Christian term that I would like to use, which is seeker sensitive, which means that.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, it's like a church term. Like if you're like, oh, we want to be seeker sensitive. So if somebody shows up for the first time, they're not going to be like all confused about what's going on. It's like for noobs. And so the fact that we're doing a hit today, we want to make sure this is like, quote, seeker sensitive to newcomers. So I mean, what is this podcast? Assuming you're listening because you did read the song title and saw that we're doing Damn It this week, and you're like, what is this podcast? Well, basically, you might have heard of Alan Cross, who does the ongoing history of alternative music.
Canada's greatest music historian. Long may he reign.
And basically, this is that.
We are just two aspiring Alan Cross acolytes, or crossolites, as I like to call us, which sort of has a double meaning in the sense that we are both adherents to the teachings of Alan Cross and the Christian cross.
You know, it's like the funniest phrase, actually, that I thought you were going to say, but you didn't say it. But in 2018, this is the funniest phrase you could possibly say, is we are aspiring music journalists. Could you imagine?
No, I mean, the idea that there still are like journalism schools inside of like reputable centers of higher learning teaching people to be any type of journalist, let alone a music journalist, is it's tragic. I mean, I think it's probably a crime. So just you're on notice.
See,
higher
I'm trying to be
education.
seeker sensitive, so I'm not going to go deep into another pint and pageman hole right now. But
No, yeah.
So basically, it's a in-depth alternative music journalistic endeavor where we talk about, like, you know, what was going on in the stew that day. What were they chatting about? What were they chopping it up about with the produce? What were they doing in the stew? And what was coming through those cans? You know?
Is this your way of ensuring that those people are all gone and we're back to just the heads now, and we can
exactly,
and we can be real?
Yeah.
Because, you know, in the words of Bill Billingsley, which is not a seeker-sensitive reference, I appreciate what you're trying to do, Josie.
I didn't come up with a funny one this week.
Did you not think that was funny? I thought that was funny.
Oh, yeah, I guess because he spells it like that, Josie. Yeah, okay, I get it now.
And he says it in every video that he makes. Josie. Sammy.
Well, you know what, Sam?
Yeah?
That is a great way to start off because...
Thanks,
I wanted to start
Josie.
off with a plug.
Yes.
Right off the bat, because... I don't know if you listeners know about this, but if you go to patreon.com/blink155...
I do not know about this.
There's all kinds of shit on there.
Is there?
There's a picture of Sam's dick.
It's good.
It's a very small picture.
Right, yeah. That's not going to be the only time that we talk about the size of people's dicks in this episode, too.
That's true. See, it's all planned. It's all just...
That's a little bit of Chekhov's dick there. The classic dramatic device.
Jackov's dick.
Yeah. If you see... Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead.
But anyways, over on patreon.com/blink155, we post all kinds of shit all the time. If anything, we update it too often, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
We're too generous. We promise those people one thing a month, and we give them often two things a month. It's literally double what we promised.
It's 100% of an increase over what you're paying for. Month over month. Just incredible value.
Exactly. It's like, honestly, it's like a Costco membership, except for Blink 155. But anyways, for our live show that we did, and really this is the part, the not secret sensitive part, is pretty much we just talk about the podcast the whole time. We don't talk about anything else except the podcast. And this happened about 3 episodes in. It became an Ouroboros of just bullshit. And so it's really been... How long have we been doing this? About 7 years now? It's just been 7 years of weekly self-reference.
Yeah. We could not be further up our own and each other's asses, which is, when you think about it, somewhat of a biological marvel.
Mm-hmm. It's truly impressive. But anyways, so for the live show, we had this one of many... exclusive videos that was for the live show only. Then we were feeling guilty. We were feeling sorry for all the poor saps who couldn't make it, all those fucking losers out there. So we thought we'd toss them a bone, and we threw one of them up there. And the video is Bill Billingsley's Badass Guide to San Diego.
And it is extremely badass. It delivers on the promise of the title.
There's a lot of Bill Billingsley-isms in it. If you don't know who Bill Billingsley is, you're just going to need to figure it out. I'm sick of explaining it.
Yes,
but anyways,
it's no point.
The video does conclude with a trip to Sombreros just because.
Just because he was making that great video for us, which thank you. And it's a great piece of content. It's like, it's got subtitles because sometimes it's hard to tell what's happening. At various points, like, Bill literally drives to Tom's childhood home in Travis Barker's Cadillac that he owns.
And
so
parks in the driveway as a reunion.
It's a beautiful piece of content, and I'd like to use this opportunity to remind anyone who listens to this podcast who books a festival, we can bring that content to you. It was one of many pieces of exclusive video content. But yeah, that one's up on the Patreon, and it is truly a thing of beauty.
Because I had written down other YouTube videos of people visiting Sombreros for this episode, but then I was like, you know what? We already have that content.
We have the ultimate Sombreros trip just because.
Yeah, so that's where you can go hit that up. But other than that, let's talk about this fucking song, baby.
Yeah, because you are in a time crunch, Josiah.
Yeah, I have to, I have to leave in 2 hours.
2 hours and 11 minutes, I think, at this point. To see, are you going to see First Man? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I am.
You fucking nerd.
I know. I don't even want to, but it's free. I do things for free, whatever it is. If anyone offers me something for free, I'll do it, including a timeshare presentation.
Also, is that like your way of maybe connecting a little bit to Tom, like to really sort of tap into his love of space, his passion for space travel?
No, I don't know. I didn't really like La La Land, to be honest, but I'm just trying to see all the movies right now. I don't know about this fucking Damien Chazelle guy.
Here's the thing about La La Land. It's actually good, which of course is my opinion, but I avoided it for so long. And
wait, have you seen A Star Is Born?
No, but I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, we should almost do a exclusive about it, just because.
Just because, yeah, okay, that sounds good. That's also motivation. Like, Ashley will be happy that I'm finally leaving the house.
I want my opinion to be behind the paywall because I'm afraid of Lady Gaga fans.
They are quite serious.
But I do love me some Lady Gaga, as people have found out on Patreon. This is the all Patreon discussion episode.
Yeah, this is not. Sorry, and is seeker sensitive like the thing that you say so you don't say anything too fucked up? Because like the truth of most religious belief systems is like deeply weird.
I never really thought of it that way. Maybe, but it also has to do with like, let's not do our annual budget meeting this week.
Okay, so it's more. It's less speaking in tongues and more like profit and loss statements.
I mean, literally, we're doing the very opposite of that by only talking about the minutia of our Patreon page.
Well, let's talk about the song Josie by the band Blink-182. Let's delve into it as the scholars of alternative culture and music that we are. Josiah, how do you feel about the song Josie by the band Blink-182?
I just thought of something.
Go ahead, man.
I want to know because it's interesting, and it's not really that interesting, but it is a thing that the song is called what it is, and they don't say the name in the song. And there's been some debate over how to pronounce my name, and the debate is that I was always told it was a hard S, and I used to think, I should correct people, and then I gave up because they were saying the Z the whole time. But I think if we return to our beloved online songs, we can hear Mark sing that at the start. So I'm curious if he does it with a hard S.
Z or an S, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so let's hear that before we determine how we're going to pronounce this song title.
Also, well, go ahead.
Josie, you're my...
Oh, there we go.
That's an S.
Josie.
I should have thought of this earlier and clipped it so that every time we want to talk about the song,
you gotta play
it. Josie.
So it's Josie, which I guess also is this your subtle way of reminding me that I am constantly mispronouncing your name?
I mean, it could be
because I say Josiah and you're saying it is Josiah.
Yeah, although I don't really care, to be honest.
I think that does feel more biblical.
The hard S?
Yeah. Like, I mean, Josiah, the book of Josiah.
Well, yeah, so it is Josie. While we're talking about the Bible and being seeker sensitive and Christianity, before I give you my opinion of the song, which is going to shock and awe you.
Wow. What happens next? I won't believe.
I just sent you the link. In my Googles today, I found this excerpt from a book called Rock and Roll Baby Names, over 2,000 music-inspired names from Allison to Ziggy. And it popped up in the Google search, the Josie section.
Oh. So in Hebrew, Josie is a variation of Josephine, the Lord increases.
Yeah, so that's pretty good. Then in rock and roll terms, it's smart, independent, and the life of the party.
That's just literally the lyrics to this song. Smart, independent, doesn't need Mark Hoppus.
Yeah, exactly. And then related artists and songs is Josie and the Pussycats, Josie by Blink-182, Josie by Donovan, Josie Anderson by John Vanderslice, Josie by Chris Christopherson, and Josie by Steely Dan.
So that Josie by Steely Dan might be the best known Josie. I assumed this was like the only Josie that mattered, but Before we kind of fumbled our way through the opening of the pod, my plan was to do a welcome to Blink-155, the internet's best Steely Dan podcast.
Oh wow! That's
And pretend
high concept.
and pretend for at least 10, 15 seconds that I had prepared for the first time in a year to do the pod, but was solely prepared to talk about Steely Dan.
Now, there's probably an actual comedy term for that, but I don't know what it is. But it sounds like there's way too many premises that you need to suspend disbelief for that joke to work.
Right. Yeah. You can only get away with sort of one variation, and that was entirely too much for an audience to handle.
All right. In this next bit, not only have I prepared everything.
Okay. So imagine a world where
when I'm looking at this name thing, first of all, I'm thinking, who's buying this shitty discount bin Urban Outfitters book and being like, oh yeah, John Vanderslice.
Yeah.
But also, remember when John Vanderslice was just a name you'd read all the time? Like, did anyone ever actually listen to John Vanderslice?
Couldn't even tell you what kind of music John Vanderslice plays. Is it country? Is it like?
I think it's like I think it's that kind of like indie pop that there used to be a million guys named Ben who did that kind of music, like Ben Lee, Ben Queller. It's like that kind of music.
Oh yeah, there were some good Bens for a while there.
Yeah, what happened? Where have all the Bens gone?
There's some good think piece fodder there. So just scrolling up in this fucking book, the name before Josie is Iris, which is Greek for rainbow, and of course the first reference is the Goo Goo Dolls, which I guess is another song where, despite being the most famous rock and roll incarnation of the name Iris, they never say Iris in the song. So the only quote from the Goo Goo Dolls they have here is, "You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be." And then there's like Breeders and Split Ends, Better Bands.
Hercules and the Love Affair. Aren't they just called Hercules and Love Affair? This book is insane. I feel like this person was just like, yeah, they'll publish this book, and then they put the amount of effort that we put into one episode into an entire book and just piece together a bunch of biblical references. But that's really all you have to do to seem smart.
Imagine naming your child Enid, which is one of the other suggestions in this book, after the Bare Naked Lady song Enid, which is about Stephen Page's ex-girlfriend. Anyway.
I feel like you'll do that.
I 100% will name my firstborn Enid.
Hang on. I'm looking at the word Chad, which says Welsh for warrior, and then rock and roll is unassuming and introverted, which is the most incorrect definition of a Chad I've ever read.
Imagine just like a real wallflower of a Chad.
But then it skips a bunch of pages, because I don't know how this weird like Google book thing works, but it skips a bunch of pages so you don't get to read the Chad thing. Instead, the next part says, liner notes, Dave Matthews once broke 2 ribs trying to catch a grape with his mouth. Dude, Dave Matthews is so good.
Dave Matthews fucking rules.
There's so many good Dave Matthews stories. And that's really what this podcast is about.
Oh, so that was a really exciting lead up. I think we've stoked excitement for the big reveal long enough. Josiah, what do you think about the song Josie by the band
I've never heard it.
182. No? Okay, that's fine. It'll probably be a better episode.
Don't want to. Well, that was actually something I was going to say earlier, is a lot of people also do read the song title and have never heard the song and try to make it through the whole episode without ever listening to the song. But then the few people, I think maybe it was Marsden was telling me, he tries to do that, and then about 15 minutes in, he's usually like, I should probably hear what they're talking about.
Yeah, just caves.
Yeah.
Imagine naming your kid Wes after Limp Bizkit guitarist Wes Borland.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Like, literally, there's a Wes in Puddle of Mud. Like, imagine you were named after both Wes Borland and Wes Scantlin from Puddle of Mud.
I think people do that a lot now, though. Like,
name their kid after the guy from Puddle of Mud? Like, is that even the guy from Puddle of Mud, or do you think that's like the bass player from Puddle of Mud?
My brother-in-law, he's like quintessential Gen X alternative guy, and I was at like I think a baby shower or something. Yeah, it was a gender reveal when they were expecting their kid. Like, this was like a year ago, and
Wow.
his friends are all like very like grunge people, and I fucking wish I could remember, but one of their kids' names, I was like, oh, that's like their kids. I heard someone be like, hey, come over here, Nirvana, or something. Yeah, like, come here, Nevermind.
Wes Scantlin is the main guy from Puddle of Mud. He's the dude who constantly gets arrested for just like being really drunk in airports with BB guns or whatever.
Dude, we need to start this fucking episode.
I know, but I feel like I had something else to say about gender reveals and Gen X, but it's fine.
All I'm gonna say is, here's your choice right now. Here's your crossroads. Either you say Josie and you say Josiah, or,
Yeah.
and this one I think might be a good choice, every single S sound you have to say as a Z for the rest of the episode.
Okay.
For the rest of the episode.
Episode. Okay, yeah, I'm going to go with 2. I think that's an interesting challenge.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
Oh, fuck. Okay. So, Josiah, tell me finally what you think about the song Josie.
So basically what this podcast is for the Zeker sensitive out there, it's just fucking terrible. It's like, you know when you see a rerun of Whose Line Is It Anyways and you're like, wow, was this shot in like the 1920s with how bad this humor is? And that's what this podcast is.
I mean, I aspire to being as good as
We're the Colin Mockery and Ryan Stiles of music journalism.
I'm the Greg Proops of music journalism. Proops.
You know, I've made this joke before, but I think it needs to be restated. Every aging garage rock guy who's like in his 40s looks like Greg Proops.
Yeah, that's the other thing that we talk about every episode.
We do talk about Greg Proops a lot.
And then I talk about the Transmitters, which actually has a Z.
Yeah, Transmitters.
And then we eventually move on.
But maybe we won't move on this time. The people are begging to hear what we have to say about this song. And
Yeah,
maybe
this
we'll
is
never give it
killing
to
me.
them.
Do we want to talk more about Steely Dan?
Steely Dan.
It's a popular
Look,
song. The lyrics threw me.
Josie by Blink-182. I love it, obviously.
Of course
it
you fucking do.
rocks. It's like amazing.
This is... I wouldn't say this is like one of the Blink's songs that I put on a lot of playlists. I gotta stop. It's already, I can't handle it. I might just have to correct how I pronounce your name. So I feel like I don't return to this song as much as some other big jams, but the entire, like we talked about doing the song about a week ago, and it's been stuck in my head the entire time. And then like the process of listening to it before we started this podcast was such a like joyful moment for me in my house. This song is like everything that is great about this band. And I feel like maybe I don't give it enough credit because it's so obviously like this is like for real top 5, like actual top 5 Blink songs.
I mean, again, I agree, but that top 5 still has more than 5 songs in it.
That's not true.
No matter how you look at it, it always
Yeah.
will. But I kind of agree. Like I always forget about this song, but then also it also feels like it's always there in a way.
Oh yeah, just like the titular Josie. Fuck.
Yeah. The song is fucking awesome. We almost don't even need to talk about it. In a way, we could just skip this episode entirely because it's so
just
good.
be like, it's perfect. It is. Let's start at the beginning. This song fucking starts and you're like, this is already perfect. Like if the song ended before Mark started singing, it would be one of the best songs on Dude Ranch.
Yeah, it's true. It's like crazily dynamic. Like
Yeah.
there's something about it that feels quiet, even though it's only like kind of, it's like dumb guy quiet, but it still feels like you're like, oh, this is like an emo song kind of.
Yeah. It's just
And I feel like on this song, definitely Scott Raynor is a better drummer than Travis Barker. Like you listen to this and you're like, this is a fucking incredible drummer, even though he's still just sort of bashing away. It's so good.
Well, this is played very much in the vein of Pathetic, which is the last time that we like slobbered disgustingly all over like every suckable part of Scott Raynor. Like it's so like almost out of control. But what's more interesting, not more interesting, but at least from a dynamic perspective about this as opposed to Pathetic, is that it has that like push and pull a little bit more. Whereas like what's so incredible about Pathetic is it's just like out the fucking gates, like railroads you. This is like got sort of air around it somehow, despite this like quest for speed that sort of defines it from the second it starts.
Yep.
It just feels so like this is up there with Angular in terms of stupid fucking music journalism words that mean nothing, but I still feel are conjure something when you read them or hear them. It feels very immediate.
Or urgent.
Yeah, doesn't it though?
Yeah, I mean, we are two aspiring music journalists.
That's it.
My
just
dream
following
is just
in the
to, like,
footsteps of Dad.
My dream is to write 50 words about the new, I don't know, whatever. What's a hype album? I want to write 50 words about it and give it a 7 out of 10. That's my dream.
Yeah, that to me is a way to live a life and to contribute. Unlike this, which is
I'm like doing this and writing clickbait, which is what I actually do for a living. So,
yeah. Look, there's no one that lives an honorable life. It's kind of
true.
The truth of things, and once you accept that, it's hard to be particularly judgmental about anything.
Or you can just be very judgmental about everything, which is
right.
the path I've chosen.
That's an equally compelling route to go down.
The other thing that I noticed today that's kind of similar between this and Pathetic is that, and I might be wrong, but I feel like it's only on these two songs I really notice it, that there's this repeating that they do of lyrics that is not really parts of the song that you would expect to repeat. Like, it's very unique. When they sing, like, you got to help me out, and then I know that everything, like, it's like they're repeating this sentence fragment that becomes so, like, it just connects with your brain and becomes so catchy because it takes you off guard the first time you hear it. Yeah,
totally. I hadn't thought about that at all, but yeah, it's not something they really return to a lot as a lyrical device. Unless you count This Is Home has some really strange shifting of creative sort of shifting of syllables.
You know what sucks? I found while I was researching this episode, I found some This Is Home fan fiction. Maybe that's another exclusive.
That's another exclusive, yeah.
Yeah, but I was thinking about that, and I think it's very effective the way that they repeat these lines, but I also think it probably wasn't on purpose. And once again, that's that urgency of just like, this is just all instinct.
Yeah, totally. And that's the thing, is like this song, if it weren't for the sort of, they're not hits, but the sort of like open just guitar hits in the intro, and then the like very fucking perfect blank bass part before the singing starts. Like if it wasn't for that, it would actually sound a lot like Pathetic. Like it's just like full on like vocals at the start. And really the instrumental intro is the sort of thing that like today, if you and I sat down in a jam space and we're like, let's like write a pop punk song, and it's like it's now would feel like paint by numbers, and it's not like they were reinventing the wheel at this point. Like this feels very Descendancy and like very much a sort of like nod to sort of that early iteration of like extremely poppy pop punk, but it feels so like just the most obvious decisions have been made at every point, but they're so fucking correct, and then no one's going back and like. There's no, what were you calling the producer? The produce in your like insane fucking intro?
Yeah, I don't know. It just came to me.
It was good, man. Whatever that character is.
It was Mark Trombino who was producing it, who politely declined coming on the pod. So, all the best to you, Mark.
I hate when people politely decline, because it's so much worse than when you just assume they never got the email.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when people are actually like respectful and, you know, take time to respond, you're just like, fuck off. Just ignore it then.
That.
Just ignore it.
Well, there's two things I want to say in response to what you just said. The first is specifically for the horrible actual fans of Blink-182 who are probably freaking out that we haven't mentioned enough factoids yet. So I just got to get this out of the way. Apparently on the Greatest Hits version, they shaved off the intro, and it just starts with "Yeah, My Girlfriend."
What? That's fucking stupid. That's so fucking stupid.
And also, it's like it was remixed by the little elf man, Tom Lord Alge, who we haven't talked about for a little while. Remember, he looks like a little like Hobbit man.
Of course, I know him well from my time in the Shire.
I can't see his name without thinking of him. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't see him without thinking of the Tea Party, which I'm sure we talked about when we got really deep on Tom Lord Alge.
Probably, and also we've talked about how the Tea Party was big in Australia. There are too many paths we could go down, but I just wanted to quickly mention that aside for all the nerds who are biting their fingernails till they bleed because they're so upset we haven't mentioned that yet. So now we've mentioned the factoid that you wanted, you fucking nerds. Secondly, I think you're totally right. Like, it's funny because even and when I feel like giving up, that part is like, it's clearly a pre-chorus, but you can almost hear that it wasn't written. It doesn't sound like, for example, last week we did Bored to Death, where the pre-chorus like arrives and announces to you that it's a pre-chorus.
Yes, yeah.
But this one is just like so natural, and I think it's just pure instinct.
Yeah, completely. I also want to say I've kept listening to Bored to Death a lot since last week, and
it's been in my head all week.
It's a good fucking song. Like, we spent 3 hours talking about it already, but just in case I didn't make the point enough, man, the song is good.
And so is this song.
And so, yeah, this one is too. Should we talk about the lyrics? Do we want to, like, where do we fucking go?
Let's start with who is Josie. And before you say that it's me, you're right. It is. The song is about me. Mm-hmm. So we can move on.
Great. Easy. I had a very confusing moment that was part of my Steely Dan discovery earlier where I just Googled Josie lyrics and wasn't paying attention. You know when Google does the like Google card kind of like autofill or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
So I got that and I didn't pay attention to Josie, but it says Steely Dan Small. And then the first lyrics to Josie by Steely Dan, a song I've never fucking heard in my life, are, we're going to break out the hats and hooters when Josie comes home. We're going to rev up the motor scooters when Josie comes home to stay. And so I got about as far as hats and hooters and was like, what the fuck? Like the song is playing in my house and I'm like, these are not the lyrics.
I could see that being like a forgotten pop punk band name, kind of like Guns and Wankers or something.
Yeah, hats and hooters is we should maybe consider that as like our Steely Dan pop punk cover band. That's our first.
It's called Steely Dan.
Steely Dan. Yeah, do you have a project when we finally get through all of these fucking songs?
So it kind of stresses me out how broken Tumblr is now. Not only because I can't access free punk lyrics, nor can I not even access my own like work portfolio that I made on Tumblr, and is really good and took forever.
But yeah, because my old website was on Tumblr too.
And yeah, so now I'd have to build a new one. But not only that, but there's probably so much Blink content on there, but it's impossible to like use the website anymore.
And that's just Yahoo, right?
I mean, are you saying that as slang, or are you referring to their ownership?
Right. Man, that's so Yahoo.
What is this slang I found today? I was asking board member of the pod, Nicole, if she knew it, and she didn't know it. But have you ever seen someone type YMMV?
Oh, no. I'm not that cool.
I really like Josie, but YMMV. I had never seen it before until today. Someone was tweeting about it, and it stands for Your Mileage May Vary. And apparently this is a thing people say online, and now I'm very angry.
I've definitely seen people use, like, I've seen that as a, like, like kind of like a this or really just like one of those things that's become like, in case you missed it, like dumb retweet shorthand or whatever. I don't like that. I thought you were saying YTNMD, and I was like, ooh, are we going to talk about the fraught history of You're the Man Now, dog?
No, we're going to talk about Tumblr, what I was trying to say, Yahoo. So Mark, on his Tumblr, was asked a question 7 years ago. Is Josie a real person you used to date, or someone that you made up for Blink-182 song purposes? P.S. You're very handsome. And he ignored the handsome part, but he replied, Josie was the name of my friend's dog. The song was written about an imaginary ideal girlfriend, and I need a woman's name, so my friend Elise from Dance Hall Crashers suggested the name of her dog, Josie.
Now wait, was Elise the woman that he dated in Dance Hall Crashers?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, this is complicated.
Oh, sorry, we got to pause 1 second. Someone's calling me.
Okay.
1 sec, I'm putting you on hold. Hello? Hello? Sam?
Yeah, man.
I've got some great news. I've been selected by WestJet for a survey.
Has your ship come in? Is it your captain speaking?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, congratulations, man. I'm so glad that we got this amazing moment on tape.
Yeah, I'm gonna be rich. I keep winning all these draws. I just have to submit, and I keep getting these emails from the CRA saying that if I enter all my information, then I'll get a refund.
Oh, you should
But
do
it's
that,
like
man.
a GeoCities site, but I think it's legit.
Well, I mean, you got to assume that the CRA has to build a website just like the rest of us. They probably got started back in the sort of Web 1.0 days. And what was a better address than geocities.com/tilde-key Sunset Strip?
So Elise is the Dance Hall Crashers, I believe, front woman. I don't forget because I can't listen to that band because they're awful. But that is the same person who's referenced in Apple Shampoo. So she's kind of a big part of the Dude Ranch history.
That's so interesting. So, but first of all, I want to say the reason that they complimented his looks because in his Tumblr bio, where he goes by Young Heezy, which I guess this was 7 years ago, ask away, and then he includes the rules, and then he says, feel free to compliment my handsome looks. So this person was more just like abiding by the rules he had established.
Right, okay. So
trying to suck up to Young Heezy himself.
Actually.
No, it's a little bit of an empty compliment. So why is he downgraded Elise here to only his friend? Like not his girlfriend, not his ex? I mean...
Again, I think we've probably forgotten everything we said on that episode. Did they actually date? I can't remember.
Who could possibly know? And I certainly don't want to go back and listen to Apple Shampoo because that was like the 5th episode, and we probably mostly talked about the song, and it sounds excruciating.
I think what happened was like I think they just like had a mo, but they didn't date. But they were like, you know, there was like some. I think there was just some like sparks flying that never really panned out. But I think that almost makes more sense that he would have written a song about his ideal girlfriend and then asked the girl that he really wanted to date badly, like, oh, I wish that I had a name that I could name this after. You know?
Yeah. My ideal girlfriend likes your band.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think this is just like a massive flirt that failed, and then he ended up naming it after a dog, which, of course, fits in with the history of Blink-182 and their love of canine fucking.
Do you think... So here's a question. Because when Tom sings about fucking a dog, it's delivered with at least the veneer of irony, right? He doesn't have any really serious songs about bestiality. Whereas this is like... I think a lot of people, you know, feel an emotional attachment to the song because it actually is just like a very sincere ode to, your partner. But it's named after a dog. And so to me, this is like real dog fucking hours.
Well, I think this is sort of like more like if we could reverse the method of fuck, marry, kill. I think Tom wants to fuck a dog, but maybe Mark wants to marry a dog. Like, this is more like relational. This is long term.
Yeah, you know that's true.
Tom just has lust for dogs, but Mark seems to really love this dog.
Yeah. He's also...
And actually, you know what else is funny about it is that it is sort of... His ideal girlfriend does have the sort of, like, blind, soulless loyalty that a dog would have.
Yeah.
Like, this...
Yeah,
not to go back to like season 1 Blink-155 wokeness, but I kind of read this song now and I'm like, this is a song about being an absolute fuckboy and like offering nothing in return and just having someone who just like blindly does everything you could ever want.
Yeah, let's list Mark Hoppus's good traits according to the song. Small dick, gets too drunk to drive. Eats. It sounds like too much Mexican food. Which can't be good for your cholesterol. I mean, you know, it's fine, but like, randomly shows up at your house at 3:00 in the fucking morning. Like, do you have a job? You know, so it sounds like he's jobless. He's a jobless drunk with a small dick in this song.
He's showing up at 3 a.m. It's like he's doing the "you up" text, basically. I think this is pretty much quintessentially a fuckboy. And that would even explain the outro of, like, I know that everything's going to be fine. First of all, it obviously isn't, because later on, Josie is the source of his most frustration. But also, that is kind of the naivety of being that kind of person where you're like, oh, yeah, everything's fine. Things are going great. She just, like, brings me food all the time, and I never do anything or put any effort into this relationship, and it's all great.
Well, and I think also it's indicative of, you know, who are the fuckboys, right? They are the sorts of, you know, privileged, young white men who life is probably just going to be totally fine for them because, you know, the whole game is tilted in their favor. And so perhaps it's actually an acknowledgement of inherited privilege.
I think, and actually there is like a self-effacing, self-deprecating nature that is an acknowledgement of that, but just because you're acknowledging it and not doing anything about it, then everything still is fine for you in the end.
Now, as long as you acknowledge it, you're good. That's my attitude, right?
That's definitely...
If I use the right words into this microphone and I spend the rest of my life not doing anything to sort of change the circumstances around me, I still think history will count me as one of the good ones. Right?
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Not to be too season one on this, but I do think that, you know, because this is such a, you know, look at we talk about the lyrics on this fucking podcast, and this song is so.
I'm seeing a song about someone who just does literally only shows up to fuck their girlfriend and does nothing else.
Hold on, it sounds like, well, he tours, but he doesn't have enough money. God, he makes her take the collect call. Yeah. Not contributing a lot here, dude. But do you actually think, because, so I was wondering, listening to this song, that side of things is fairly fucking obvious. Like that is sort of the portrait that it is painting of like the sort of singer, the narrator in the relationship. But like Josie herself gets painted at least as smart and independent, which feels very ham-handed. But at the time, like the idea that like 20 fucking years ago, it wasn't just like she's great, I get head whenever I want, but instead it's like she's really smart and she likes pop punk bands and she also likes Mexican food and vacation. Like all things considered, especially like other songs on this album or songs that the band would like eventually write that maybe are lean harder into sort of more questionable territory when it comes to like relationships and gender or whatever. This is real season 1 Blink 155, eh? Holy shit.
Yeah.
This one at least feels like it's trying at a time when no one expected you to try. So like it's 1997 and you're already like, my dream fucking girlfriend is so much smarter and more independent than me. Not like, and then also you're like, and I'm a fuckboy. But that's like kind of in general, I wish someone would bring me Mexican food all the fucking time.
See, I'm not necessarily saying that like I see this as being this problematic gender situation. I just like reading it and seeing how doomed the relationship is. Even saying
right.
Like that verse 2 is hilariously like he's like, she's so smart and independent. Why doesn't she? I don't think she needs me half as much as I need her. I wonder why there's not another guy that she'd prefer. Well, anyways, either way, I'm just going to keep like dicking
right.
around and not doing anything and let her fetch me food, and I'm sure it'll be fine.
But yeah, even armed with that knowledge, even armed with that self-awareness, you're not like, ooh, I should maybe get a job.
Yeah. Or just like, maybe I should just surprise her with a cooked dinner or something. Just like any sort of gesture whatsoever.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm going to go with my boys and we're going to skate in the Target parking lot. I'm going to get super wasted and then going to stumble into her home and climb on top of her and pass out. And she loves it because she's independent.
Right, yeah. She's so smart.
It's just like a general like sign of like having no concept of what your partner is like.
Right. Or like
maybe
another
some of that
person's
independence
needs
is
beyond your own, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like some of that independence is just being completely aloof to anything that your partner is interested in.
Right. Like, she doesn't get all jealous when you hang out with the guys, but that's not like jealousy. That's just like a person who loves you wants to spend time with you.
Yeah, exactly. And even like, I still think as I get older, like, it's so funny. I've said this before, but how much it mattered that the people around you liked all the same pop culture as you. And as you get older, you're like, who gives a shit? Like, that's so trivial.
Yeah, it's true. This idea that like the perfect girlfriend has to like unwritten law, like, come on.
Yeah.
You're really like you're eliminating a large chunk of the population if unwritten law is like in the first verse of your list of traits that a perfect girlfriend has.
Name dropping DHC once again makes this seem like a very clumsy flirt with Elise.
Totally. Well, can you imagine being Elise and hearing this and being like, "Guy, what the fuck?" Like him being like, "Hey, what should I call this song about a perfect girl who's maybe you?" And she's like, "I don't know. It doesn't sound like there's a lot for me in this scenario. I need to fucking chauffeur you. I got to pick up your fucking food."
Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a missing verse 4 about having to wipe his ass after he has too much sombreros.
Yeah, I'm so drunk. It's too much work. Some real Montezuma's revenge here.
I mean, yeah, picturing this relationship is what I imagine like every super touring band guy must be like to their girlfriends, or like a pro skater, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever you see like a pro skater being like, "Yeah, my girlfriend back home, I miss her so much, dude." But it's just like, no, you don't. You just want to keep like shitting into 7-Eleven bags in your van. Like, it's not. But here's a little
everyone's
thing.
true passion. It's just...
So the official line is that it's named after a dog, but this is, I think I found this, well, I don't remember where I found this, but someone had written this somewhere. A source close to an ex-girlfriend of Mark says that her best friend Josie was actually the inspiration for the song's name and not a dog. However, the girlfriend, who is unnamed, was the inspiration for the lyrics, and Mark didn't want to name the song after the girlfriend herself. The next album mentions Josie in their thank you section inside the CD cover.
Okay, wait. Mark's ex-girlfriend's best friend's name was Josie. And so
he didn't want to name it after the actual ex-girlfriend. So he named it after... What? I mean, this theory is crazy.
No, but this is complicated. Hold on. So the ex-girlfriend's best friend is named Josie. So he wrote the song about his ex-girlfriend's best friend?
No, he wrote it about his ex-girlfriend, but he didn't want to name it after her. So then he...
Named it after her best friend?
Yeah.
God, in terms of like just being a real piece of shit boyfriend in this song, it's like all I do is, shred all night with the boys, come home drunk, and then write songs about your best friend. But baby, I love that you love unwritten law.
But you're so independent because I constantly neglect you, and you haven't worked up the courage to dump me yet.
Of course she's independent. You've left her alone outside of 3 a.m. The only time that they seemingly interact in this song is at 3 a.m. when he stumbles in, or when she's driving him home. The fact, I'd sort of forgotten how the song opened. I think I had mixed up the verses in my head. And so if you think about like opening up the song with the second verse with like, you know, my girlfriend takes collect calls from the road. You're a band. It's kind of a tour song. But the idea that the song literally opens with like, my fucking super sick, amazing girlfriend, you know what she fucking does? She drives me home when I get loaded as fuck. You're like, what? Why is that like A1 amazing facts about your girlfriend?
I also love that all of these like traits of hers, that she is so seemingly forgiving of him. Even in the song, he's not entirely sure. He's like, I don't think she needs me, and he says, it doesn't seem to matter that I'm lacking in the bulge.
He's never
like
asked.
She's never said like, you know what, your dick's tiny, but it gets the job done. She's just like, she puts up with it. He's like, I think she's okay with it. It doesn't really seem like anything's wrong.
It hasn't been an issue yet.
Yeah, like this, and I honestly, truly never. Like, I didn't even open the lyrics when we were preparing for this episode, but so always up until this very moment, I've thought, oh, this song is about, like, the ideal girlfriend that everyone wants. But then as soon as you read it, you're like, wait a minute.
No.
The song's about being a complete piece of shit and having a mommy that takes care of you.
Yeah. This is a song about this predates the trend in pornography, which is like everything being incest now. Where like this is essentially a song about wanting to fuck your mom. Which is
another major Blink theme that comes up quite a lot.
Exactly. I do want to ask a little bit about the lacking in the bulge part, because that's the only time I've ever heard someone turn that phrase. Like, is that a popular phrase to say, like, ooh, Mark, really lacking in the bulge, did you hear? Or is that an original turn of phrase?
That's a good question.
Are you Googling lacking in the bulge right now?
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's so effective, because it's like it's a very funny way of describing your dick as being like kind of inadequate, but without
it's very poetic and very clever.
Yeah,
and it truly only comes up when you search. Like, it only brings the song up.
It's like that is, and that's like one of those things where you're like, fuck, Mark is good. Like, to be able to write this song that's like fairly literal and kind of fun and kind of dumb, and then to sort of have this like really fun way of describing your shitty dick.
Yeah, because it also doesn't even rhyme with road. So he just clearly wanted, like, my girlfriend takes collect calls from the road. It doesn't seem to matter that I barely blow a load. I don't know. Something like that could rhyme.
Right. Imagine if instead this song was about having like small loads.
It basically is. I'm sure he's not blasting thick ropes here.
You think
with this lifestyle and diet, I doubt that he's got healthy ropes.
Right. Yeah. It's true, eh? You're spending all your time in the van eating Mexican food. You're not sleeping well. Like your internal clock, whatever that's called, your circadian rhythms are all off, and that's got to affect your ropes.
So since we're talking about feminism right now, I wanted to mention a contemporary connection to this song, which is, of course, the music video features none other than Alyssa Milano, who was recently famously in attendance at the Brett Kavanaugh trial. Oh yeah,
Alyssa Milano, future friend. We should see if she wants to be on the pod. Right. Our feminist podcast, Blink 155.
So she's what, the unattainable girlfriend in the music video?
Yeah, you know what's funny is, like, I feel like much music, which for those who are seeking right now is like the Canadian MTV, didn't play this video very much. Like, I remember the Damn It video obviously was like all over when that happened. But then when they'd play other Blink videos, it was like for M&Ms and shit. Like, it was never I feel like the Josie video was like not present in my like formative watching Much Music years, and therefore it has like made zero impression on me whatsoever. Like, yeah. I can vaguely picture it, but I was listening to the song. I wasn't watching the video before we started.
Well, good work there.
Yep, some good preparation. But that's me saying, Josiah, tell me, it sounds like you maybe have some other things to say about the video.
I didn't really watch it today either, but I just remember it having very cool looks, a lot of ball-bearing necklaces, great dyed hair.
Yeah, he's got purple hair in this, right?
And again, like, I think the way that their outfits have also now represent like the dime skateboarder type techno people or house music people. Those are the new fuckboys also. So I think it kind of like translates well. Like, if you see someone wearing baggy khakis and having a ball-bearing necklace and like ironic Oakley shades, they're probably going to be a bad boyfriend. I'm guessing.
It's safe to assume that they're not like A+ boyfriend material. Yo, the looks. Did you guys talk about the hair, both Mark and Tom, in the exclusive that you did with Rachel, the hair editor? While we're pimping the Patreon, I am like 90% sure this is a great exclusive. While we're sort of pushing the Patreon, where you spoke to Rachel, the hair editor of the pod, who like writes and opines about hairstyles currently and throughout history, and so I'm pretty sure you talked about, because you've got the like super like bleached hair on Tom, and then the purple hair on Mark, which is like so fucking sick. It's such a good look.
Cool. Well, anyways, Alyssa Milano, famously of the Brett Kavanaugh trial, she stars as the girl of Mark Hoppus's affection in the video. In 2001, in I think the Blink-182 book, what's it called? I don't know. I don't know anything about Blink-182. Tales from Beneath Your Mom.
Right.
In that book, which came out 1 month after 9/11, we forgot to mention on our Scoozy.
Well, thankfully 9/11 happens every year, so.
Yeah. For a book that came out after 9/11, the title "Tales from Beneath Your Mom" is quite a dark. It takes quite a dark turn.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's good.
But yeah, speaking of the video in that book, Mark said, I felt really bad for her because she showed up on the set and it was just her and a bunch of perverted dudes who did nothing but stare at her breasts. They couldn't even help themselves. That's how he described Alyssa Milano on set of the video. So really, Alyssa Milano of the Brett Kavanaugh trial, everybody.
Right. There is a great photo that I just sent you, though, of like the two of them, of like Mark and Alyssa Milano on, I guess, the set of the video. It's just like a very high school, like, because it's the whole thing's like set in the high school. And so it's them on like the sort of outdoor lunch tables that I've never experienced because obviously we didn't have like that in snowy Canada. But this is like every TV show that's set in. Every TV show that's set in California, like this is where all the most important shit happens. So it already, I'm like, oh, I know this look, the kind of graded outdoor, cafeteria or whatever.
The video is really also just like a perfect teen movie in the form of a pop punk video.
Well, just
so
like
good.
Looking at the two of them together is just like, fuck, it looks cool. Like that photo is fucking awesome. God damn. I really like this band, eh?
Yeah, now we're about to get into that section. But first, I want to show you so this is them introducing the video on the Australian TV show Rage. We're going to talk about Australian TV more in a second. But I'm going to play this whole thing, I think, because they say so much good stuff and they look so cool. Like, even just the way they're sitting, it's like...
Oh, my God.
That sort of alternative, like, the camera's under them look.
Yeah, everything, like... I will never be this cool. I mean, it is way too late for me. Like 10 years ago, I wasn't this cool. And so I'm certainly not going to be this cool today. But like, this is still, and it's also the impact that it makes on you. But yeah, just looking at like the way it's shot, it's got a dumb filter on it. Yeah. You would never shoot anything from this angle ever in 2018. And they're so fucking slouched.
Yeah. And so this is them premiering the vid and they talk about Alyssa Milano too. Here we go.
Okay. Hey, this is our newest video release. It's for a song called Josie. I mean, everything's going to be fine, We used to think that everything wasn't going to be fine, but it's going to be. We realized that it's all going to be all right. So we shot this...
Did you even count the number of hairs on Mark's chest with one hand and still have 3 fingers left over?
It's kind of gross. So anyway, we shot this video at a high school in Los Angeles, kind of north of Los Angeles, and... Oh, that's right. Alyssa Milano's in it, and she kissed you and gave you...
Oh, that's right. For those of you that don't notice, I do get a kiss on the forehead from Alyssa Milano.
I can't remember. Does the video show her giving you her number?
Yeah, you might not see it in the video, but I did get her home phone number and her address.
And one thing you don't see is that after the kiss on the forehead, she was puking for like an hour.
Well, she wasn't puking so much as rinsing her mouth out with Listerine over and over and over again.
Hydrochloric acid, what have you, but it doesn't matter.
I just want to pause and say, Scott has some jokes in here that he doesn't usually have.
Scott may be just like very comfortable in Australia, unlike other current members of Blink-182. This is where he shines.
Me.
Right.
Yeah.
The video is something that we kind of, our band is all about, high school.
If you look closely,
you can see
in one of the shots, you might see a nut or two.
There's nuts. There are actual testicles hidden throughout the lockers and stuff in the course of this video. If you find the testicle and you write into us that you found the testicle, we will give you lots and lots of money.
The Blink-182 I Found the Testicle contest.
Blink-182 I Found the Testicle card. Call us, 555-1212.
And, so anyways, this video is about what we're about, relationships, high school.
High school, relationships with girls.
Shot it in 3 days. We didn't get a trailer, although Alyssa Milano got a trailer.
Actually, she got her own motorhome. And this video took longer to shoot than our first record did to record.
Just to let you know that. Tells you something about how we work. I think we look good, though. You think we look good?
I think I look good in the first, 2 seconds of the video, and after that, it pretty much goes south.
I think I look bad. I think, in the first couple of seconds of the video, I got, this gut. I'm hunched over. I'm like, yeah, okay, all right, But, what have you.
The camera can't polish a turd, is all I'm saying.
You can sure dip it in chrome, right there, Scott?
Absolutely, my man.
That's right.
If you watch really closely, you'll see Scott dead asleep.
Scott's dead asleep.
I'm really good at acting asleep. Want
Yeah.
to see?
Yeah.
They are the best band.
They're so cute.
And just like pretty good at riffing. Like in a different world, they probably would have had a very successful podcast.
Yeah, I think so too. But then as part of it is like this youthfulness where they're not trying to seem cool, and they're very dorky in a very charming way.
Yeah, just that like our band is about high school and girls. You know, we're disgusting. Again, I think that's like, I mean, fuck, we got a lot of episodes to talk about this, but like the impact of kind of that attitude, which like certainly has its downfall, but where I think like the dominant, because they became like a cool guy archetype, right? Like eventually, because they were just so popular, it's like that's kind of what happens. But this idea that you go from like, I don't know what cool kids were in the, you know, early 90s and 80s, but I suspect it wasn't dudes who were like, my dick sucks and I have a gut and I'm hunched over and I have 3 hairs on my chest. Like this sort of aggressively self-effacing way of constantly belittling yourself, I think is like, along with some of the more like toxic elements of, I'm constantly hedging on this because I know like it's not entirely true, but like I think it's like a healthy way for like, you know, if you're going to be the fucking alpha dude at your high school, like at least sort of be able to make fun of yourself a lot. And then maybe that's like good for you and I don't know. I'm fucking floundering here.
Well, I think it's like obviously not an entire system of living that will like save the world.
No.
But it seems to be a more healthy way to deal with like insecurity, to just poke fun at yourself.
Yeah,
rather than like puffing your chest out and being a shit, to instead be like, oh, I'm a loser. And you're right. I think there hasn't really been like, I don't know. It didn't seem like there was many rock stars like that before this.
No, I mean, you had like, obviously like grunge is all like sensitive poet men, but like even they were sort of like unattainable and artistic. And so I love this, just like, we're fucking dumb. Like
yeah, it's super actually like Rodney Dangerfield energy.
Yeah, totally. You can't
like, oh, good, no respect.
Well, and it's just this idea of like, you can't make fun of me for anything because I'm going to say it first. And I think it also makes you very instantly relatable, right? So like, even though we look at that, we're like, fuck, these guys are so cool. But because they're like, I suck. You're like, fucking I suck. So that means we are the same. And I think that like just opens up the potential audience and opens up like, I don't know, the community a little bit, you know, it's the prerequisite is like that you feel stupid sometimes.
Yeah,
I wonder
totally.
I wonder if that testicle contest is still running though.
I know, because that's the thing. I didn't really have time, but I was like, shit, I got to look for the testicle in the music video, and I didn't have time. So I think if anyone can find it, I mean, let's keep the dialogue open about that ball.
How about this? If you can find a testicle, if you be the first person to send us a screen cap of what is definitively, and we'll put it out to the nation if there's any sort of debate between Josiah and I. Find a testicle. We'll give you.
I don't like it now.
How
I don't
about
like the hard S now.
No,
it's too weird.
It's because it makes me feel like I'm mad at you. Which
you're not
I could
anymore.
never
'Cause
be.
we're friends now. It's season 2.
Yeah, exactly. I think what we should do is we should give that person free lifetime access to the Patreon feed.
If they find an actual testicle,
What is definitively a testicle in the video? Screenshot it, send it to us. DM.
screenshot, but we need the time code too, because I don't want. I know that it's easy to like Photoshop balls onto things.
Yeah,
trust me. I know.
No ball shopping on this. We want true balls.
So this video is iconic, but there was actually another video that they scrapped altogether. So this one was directed by the same guy who did M&M's. And
Does it end with like bloodshed or whatever?
No, but the one they used was directed by that guy. But before then,
What the
I
fuck?
probably should have written down the name. That would have been smart.
It's PMX2N, I believe, is the director.
That's who uploaded it.
It's a joke, man.
The director
I get how YouTube works.
No, you don't. We've already established this. You don't know how the
That's right.
licensing works.
Yeah.
Jason Matzner directed this with his collaborator Brendan Lambie. How come like music video directors always have the most forgettable names?
Brendan Lambie is definitely like a white guy name generator for sure.
Like the ultimate music video director.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Brendan Lambie and Jason Massner, that iconic duo, they directed this video where it's like they're in a ship. I guess Mark's idea was that they're in a ship that sinks while they play, and it just fills with water.
Yeah, this is like high fucking concept.
Yeah, and it really does look too serious. Like, it would have been like better for one of the, maybe for Stay Together for the Kids or something. Like, it's more that kind of video. It just looks too dark. I think probably in his mind it was more like a slapstick, like Naked Gun kind of thing, which could have worked really well.
No, it looks like one of those, like it looks like The Abyss or something. Any movie where people are sort of in compartments and drowning and fighting for their life. Like, it doesn't look fun. Like, it looks like
I know,
they're
except
fucking
that
dying.
Tom and Scott are making like very goofy faces, and Scott is like hitting a snare very funnily. But yeah, so
there's a lot of shots of those like Vans that everyone wears again now, just like in the water,
the
kicking,
old schools.
and it looks
Totally.
fucking great.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm still glad they didn't use that because it's too serious looking.
No, but it's just crazy to think like this. There's no way this is a cheap video. Like, it's a whole set that you flooded. Like, this isn't that cheap, and then they filmed an entire other video with Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they just were sad they didn't have any breasts to stare at, so they wanted to.
Right, had to
Do
write
that, go
that
there.
wrong. They're like, something's just not quite working for me here.
Sam, lest we have not sung the praises of Scott enough,
Oh yeah,
let's get into a little live video section. Because it's just
Oh.
fucking, I mean, I'm going to start crying. I'm going to start touching myself. It's going to be all over the place. But because I care about the fact that there's an audio medium so much, I'm going to start with a bootleg I found of them playing the song live on Triple J Radio in Australia.
are you just like pandering to the Australian listenership now?
I mean, kind of, except also Blink-182 is very Australian and very Canadian, too, as we'll discuss in a second.
Oh, looking forward to that.
But yeah, this is them on May 24th, 1998. What were you doing then? May 24th, 1998.
May 24th, 1998. I would have been, I guess, in school, right? What day of the week was that? May 24, 1998. That was a Sunday, so I wouldn't have been in school.
You would have been at church.
I would, yeah. Well, wait, this was Sunday in Australia, so it would have been Saturday or Monday.
Yeah, this is confusing now.
Here.
This is getting too confusing.
You know, so maybe I was out, playing a game of catch with my chums. Perhaps.
Maybe watching some Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, I might have been doing that. Could have been just like rewatching fucking Jaws for the 100th time. I don't know.
I definitely think probably at that age, I didn't know about Blink yet. Probably not.
Well, what is that? 98? No, 98 you'd know about Blink because, like, Damn It would have been out already.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. But I don't know if I saw it right when it came out. I mean, it's hard to say. Either way, this is a long time ago, is all I'm trying to say.
Right, okay. We got pretty close, though. We had some good ideas of what we might have been doing. We've painted a picture. Well, actually,
Right.
Okay, fine.
But what's really cute about this radio appearance is that they do goofy voices the whole time, including throughout the whole song. And it's so adorable, and I love it. So here we go.
This will be for Live at the Wireless.
This song is called Josie. Goes like this. Here we go. Yeah, Michael. And Michael.
My girlfriend.
It's so charming.
Well, we're just getting started, my friend.
Oh, I love to be charmed.
So let's stay in Australia for a second. This is pretty much the most iconic early Blink stuff. I think we've mentioned it before, but I don't know if we've done it too much, but they were on this TV show over there called Recovery.
Yeah, we played
Also in
something from this
98.
before, right?
Yeah.
Because the set is fucking insane. It's the logo that we have tattooed.
Yeah, so they did it after us. And yeah, there's cacti and stuff, and I think Tom is playing through the quintessential hall amp that everyone would have played in this, like in the early 2000s. If you were in like a metalcore or pop punk band and you played at Sealand Hall in Vancouver or something, you would have played through a Marshall half cab with, I think it's either a 5150 or a Mesa Boogie, I can't tell. And then he's playing a Les Paul. Like he's playing the ultimate Revelation Records setup on this. It's so sick. Mark looks so fucking cool. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, they're both in khakis that are like pretty high, like as opposed to full baggy, like they're all like cutting off at the ankle.
And that's again like so. I mean, the research has already been done about khakis showing off your socks and everything, and what all that means for today's youths. But I think Blink-182 might have invented the look.
Yeah. Also, like, wait, is Tom wearing like creepers? Like, if you around like what, like there aren't a lot of wide shots, but if you pause at like 106, 107, Mark's got just the Vans on, but Tom has, I think like. Real
are
like
they creepers or are they docks? They might just be docks.
I think they're docks, yeah.
Because they're not quite full rockabilly, but they do look. Wow, this is so iconic.
Tom is kind of half dressed like he's in Rancid. It's very strange. He also is that like a Billabong sort of applied sticker on the Gibson? Am I reading that right?
Yeah.
Oh my god, they're so fucking cool.
Okay, well let's hear how this sounds.
Yeah, my girlfriend is home after don't try. And she doesn't get all jealous when I hang out with her. She laughs at my contours when I'm on and brings me message from girls just because. Not just because. And my girlfriend likes wearing DXC. She's so smart and
Oh, that octave chord that he just did.
Oh my god. It's so, and like, you know, there's this move that I feel like Mark doesn't do as much anymore, and it's this like kind of violent hump that he does like a lot early on in this, and in a lot of older videos where he's not quite ready to like be airborne, but he just like grooves in a way that like I've never seen another man kind of groove, and it's so sick. God damn, this band is so great.
Yeah, it's really good. It's very, very good. And yeah, I'm going to save the Canadian one for a second because we got to talk about this one's been, I kind of spoiled it recently, not thinking we'd be doing this so soon, but we got to do it. So this is live in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah,
in
yeah,
1997. And this is with a naked ET on stage with them. So there's literally like full schlong. Oh yeah, I forgot actually. Tom sings that part too. That's even weirder. I got so distracted by the dick that I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. There's
Yeah,
so much
I was
dick in
straight up
this.
just looking at the dick because he's sort of like headbanging, and so the dick is also dick banging, like the way that he's moving.
And that ET is very much not lacking in the bulge.
Yeah, ET is like he's got like a D's piece.
And Deese's pieces. That's part of ET. Yeah, because ET is obviously very important to me in my home. It's
Yeah.
Sarah's favorite movie, and she has a lot of like ET stuff. And Blink-182 is so important to me, So this is like a real iconic meeting of the minds, and it's too perfect that it's someone attacking someone with their dick out. So.
Right, but how does the sort of ET fandom gel with this sort of like, it's not sexual, like it's extremely not sexual nudity, but it's still like, also like the ET mask is flesh colored, and then because he's not wearing any clothes, like the whole effect of it, because it's like ratty footage, is like you really can't see the neckline, so it's just like a naked man with high socks and old school Vans on, with who presumably literally is ET.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, if somehow someone knows who this was, I would love to talk to them.
Oh my god, get them like ET with the dick on the pod. I want it to happen so fucking badly.
But let's rewind a little bit, because I think Tom does sing it. Let's hear it. So it's because the ET dick
ET knocked over
stole-
Mark's fucking. Oh my god!
What a gift!
But just
what a gift!
I also like the idea of like this would never happen to Blink now because it's like a tightly controlled, professional stage show. But this idea that like ET with the dick knocked over Mark's mic stand, and so Tom has to like just jump in and like sing the song. It sounds fucking awesome with him singing too.
And that's like not only would they not do it now, but I don't think any bands, things like this don't happen as much anymore. But that's why I loved going to shows when I was a kid, until whenever I stopped going to shows like 5 years ago, I think.
Well,
I've just been in my room doing this podcast for however long and playing video games.
Right.
But like there used to be the bands that I would go see, there would always be some ridiculous thing that would happen, or something would get wrecked, or they would self-sabotage, or a friend would sabotage. Like, I miss that kind of like chaos that you don't really see anymore very much.
But I wonder if that's just like, that's what's happening at the shows that we're not going to. Like, because to me, this is like, yeah, the shows that would happen in like, Mississauga and Brampton, like the suburbs where you had all the like cool 905 bands and shit. Like there are legendary stories. Like I went to like one or two crazy shows, but then you hear about like the show at the Pine Room where Moneen put fireworks on their guitars and like almost burned down the Pine Room, and then they couldn't have shows at the Pine Room anymore. And like that was legendary. Like, you'd go see those bands to be like, what insane thing is going to happen? I mean, a lot of the times it was like centered around Moneen, but it would be like, Kenny jumps off of something high and breaks his ankle, and you're like, this is sick.
Yeah.
And
I know.
But I do think this might be a function of our age.
I really hope so, but I'm starting to doubt it. Like, I just really don't think that. I think that the only people who go to shows are like in their late 30s and still trying to make it happen. That's my vibe. I'm probably wrong.
I feel like that.
Please tell me I'm wrong.
That might be a result of the bubble that you live in. I think
so. But the bubble I'm in is like, we need to protect all ages shows, and then you go and it's like a bunch of people in their 30s. Like,
right.
This is so sick. I love that it's all ages. I mean, I guess being 36 is an age, so it works. But
yeah, it's one of the ages.
Well, you mentioned them today, so I'm gonna play this now. We're gonna get depressed now for a second.
Fuck
this
off.
is them playing it this year at Muse Inc., that tattoo festival that, for some reason, is the pivotal festival of modern Blink. Like, it was because Tom didn't want to play that they kicked him, they parted ways and replaced him with Matt. And
So,
then now they
oh
still
wow.
play.
Oh, hi.
Oh, hey.
Oh, sorry.
So, a lot that just happened just then.
Oh wow! Hey.
Yeah, just watching old Blink-182 videos,
Continue.
Thanks.
No, this one's new actually. Sam,
Oh,
pay attention.
Sorry. Actually, this is a new Blink-182 video.
All right, here we go.
That sucked. It's so slow.
I know. Like the other videos sound like they're barreling forward again. It's that Scott Rayner energy. But yeah, this just sounds so tired and just like, I mean, you can tell even in the video, everyone's singing along so much that no wonder they don't really have to try.
Well, that's
whenever whenever it's directly mic'd from the board, that's when it sounds especially bad because, you know, people aren't singing over top of it. But when the audience is singing along is when it's like probably fine. But I don't know. They're just like, I hate to say it, but Metsky sometimes sounds like maybe a little bit. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh wow,
actually.
this is.
He sounds like a little bit hearing impaired sometimes.
Oh yeah, I think that's fair.
He does. He just has that voice a little bit, or just like there's something about it that just sounds like maybe he can't hear what he sounds like while he's singing.
Right. No, I know exactly what you mean. And this is something that we haven't really touched on yet is like there is like a little bit of back and forth in this song. And in particular, there's like some big money fucking harms that are also part of elevating this song into, I think, the top 5 Blink-182 songs. And so hearing that... those parts of the song, which I think like genuinely do elevate it in a really meaningful way, performed so fucking listlessly is really just disheartening.
But fortunately, because I care about you and us and the pod, I'm going to end the live section with the best one.
Oh, good.
And it's fitting that the best one is in Canada. Mm-hmm. So before we get started, I want to ask you, what is this wet hair man's name that used to be on
Bill
Much Music all the
Walishka.
time? Pardon me?
Bill-
Did you just sneeze?
Bill Walishka. And his whole thing was that he kind of looked...
Like, no wonder no one in Canada ever gets famous. They all have, like, the most impossible to remember names.
Yeah, no one changes their name. It's like all of our famous broadcasters are George Stroumboulopoulos, William Walishka. Like, it's not good.
Yeah. But his hair was always wet.
This was the era of like
He was like
extreme
2016
gel.
Kristen Stewart, but with wet curly hair.
Right. He also, part of his, I think, like claim to fame in Canada for those who found him quite handsome, I believe. He was a bit of a heartthrob, was that he kind of looked like, and he doesn't actually, but that he looked like Gavin Rossdale. Do you remember that? Hold on. 1 second.
funny.
Ashley, what'd you say? Yeah, but didn't people think that he looked like Gavin Rossdale when he had the long hair?
Maybe dumb boy.
Okay,
He
so
looks a lot
Ashley
like
is
the
disputing
singer-
this.
He looks a lot like the singer of Great Big Sea, too.
Oh, yeah, but the guy from Great Big Sea wasn't exactly a heartthrob.
But again, this guy, like, I don't know how old this guy is in this video, but he looks like he's looked like he's 50 since he was about 18.
Yeah, he definitely has like old man face, and he's for sure younger than us in this. Bill Walishka. I'm looking at Bill Walishka, Gavin Rossdale, so people.
I want to know, what does this guy do now? Like, he must not be working from one of the E-Talk offshoots that everyone in Canada works for.
Yeah, he definitely is I'm sure he's like an Entertainment Tonight Canada host or something. He's from Welland, Ontario, and now he's a monthly columnist for the Kingston Whig Standard, Canada's oldest continually published daily newspaper. So,
see, and that's why we are aspiring music journalists, because there's just so much. It's a land of opportunity.
yeah, he did host a breakfast television in Edmonton.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, this video is not. I'm gonna play a few excerpts of this, but let's start it. Let's play it from the start to begin with, and then I'm gonna skip ahead to something very special.
Okay.
Please welcome to the Much Environment, Blink 182.
Yeah, my girlfriend takes me home when I'm too drunk to drive. And she doesn't get all jealous when I hang out with the guys. She laughs at my dumb jokes when no one does. brings me back to the walls of barrels just because. Yeah, just because. And my girlfriend likes you wearing THC. She's so smart and independent. I don't think she needs me.
Oh my god.
Fuck, man.
I feel like there's something about. I'm gonna say Much Music, but I even feel like Jonovision back. I feel like Canadian TV appearances back then were mixed so well that it sounded like the perfect ideal live video.
Yeah. It's also like this also looks so fucking good, and I know we've talked about Much before on this podcast, but like Much was like legitimately really pioneering from a production standpoint, and like was not just like calling it the Canadian MTV is actually dismissing like a really interesting history. And like something like this where you have this band is just playing in, because everything was like all street level. So you had Master Control was street level. The windows opened up to Queen Street, which is like the cool street in Toronto. And so just even like watching this video, it's where the CN Tower is. And so you have like the band playing. They look cool as shit because this is like peak Cool Blink. I think we may have mentioned that already in this episode. But then like behind them, you literally have Master Control for this national TV station. So you've got all the people are fucking working. Like people are at their desks around them working. And then you also have 30 kids that have like been brought into what they called the Much Music environment to like watch. And then you have kids at the fucking window and there's like streetcars going by. It's like, it's the fucking coolest. Like this is
so cool.
Like, and this is also, and again, one of the things I think is interesting about Much Music is like really in terms of like this, like pulling back the layers, and like the camera people were also the hosts, were also like the editors, was that like this is all like predating what is good about YouTube as well, of just like reimagining what television can be and therefore like what like video looks like. It's so fucking good, man.
I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, and I also just, to reiterate, I cannot believe how good it sounds. Like, why doesn't
it sounds so good?
Why don't TV appearances sound as good as this anymore? It's crazy.
It's so weird because you always hear people say, like, the person who mixes SNL, that, and I'm pretty sure it's a dude, that guy gets like flown all over to mix other like award shows, like broadcast specials and stuff, because like they're one of the only people that's good at doing live TV sound. And in my opinion, SNL frequently sounds like fucking shit.
Especially when it's a rock band, I think.
Yeah. And like,
it might be also because every rock band has like cluttered everything with triggers and stuff, and this is just like 3 people playing through 2 amps and drums, and everything is so loud. And it sounds so good. But anyways, there's a very special part in this video that I want to play for you, because I feel like this is the only time that this has truly happened. But when it gets to the call and response part, Tom kind of has Fest voice.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see Blink-182 play before Iron Chic at 8 seconds. Down in
God, I shouldn't have brought this up. I shouldn't have mentioned it.
Yes, Fest voice. I mean, see, that's the way that Fest voice is good, when it's just because you're like probably tired and at the end of tour.
Yeah, and I also really like his V-neck sweater.
Yeah, this was also like Tom in the Australia video too. He's got the like button up, or not the button up, he's got the polo shirt on, and I forgot how sick like his kind of preppy punk vibes were at this time as well.
Yeah, and there is a Tom DeLonge Vampire Weekend crossover story that I'd like to explore soon elsewhere, not on this episode, but it is a good point that like people credit Vampire Weekend with being the cool guys dressing preppy, but that is a very pop punk move as well.
Oh yeah, I think you and I should start wearing ball bearing necklaces.
I really want to, and I want to wear baggy khakis so bad.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna buy all new clothes. Oh, every time they show the audience is like fucking 12 too.
I know,
And
and they look so. The kid at like 147 is just like scowling.
Yeah, that's where I had it paused as well. Like he's in his winter coat. He doesn't look like he's impressed.
But I think everyone was also just like so terrified of being so close to a cool band.
Yeah.
Back then. It's crazy. Oh, we should hear what your friend has to say at the end of the video, actually.
Oh.
I never listened to this.
Blake 182 there, live on Much, and we're going to give you a commercial break, but right after, we're going to talk to them. So please, please don't go. He was just hammering them, eh? He was going crazy on them there. Just hammering them.
Oh my god, that's so embarrassing in Canadian. Talking about the drums.
But it's basically
You're just
David
hammering them,
Letterman, eh? Like, hey,
Yeah,
those nice drums.
totally.
What is it? Those your drums? What is it that he says?
Yeah, I think it's that. Like he asked if, or like, are those a rental? Are those drums a rental?
Oh, that's good. Maybe that's maybe it's his acknowledgement of that classic meme from the future. Just wailing on it, eh? He's also
Maybe
dressed.
David Letterman was watching Bill Bashushka or whatever his name is to learn about.
It's funny how like Bill is ostensibly dressed the same in this, except he's dressed like in the like more Canadian. Like I feel like we couldn't have dressed like Blink if we tried back then because we didn't have the right. Like this is like real West Coast
Yeah, like
shit.
all of our stuff was from like Eaton's.
Yeah, yeah. Like he's
Like
got
the
this
Eaton
extremely
section where there's like shitty graffiti on the wall.
Yeah, like I owned this Bill Walishka sweater. It's like very Randy River. Like
Oh yeah, or Mossimo maybe. I think Mossimo was in America though, right?
I think yeah.
Yeah, Randy River R squared.
Was Randy River American? I think there's a point where you see a dude pick his nose. I could dissect this video. This is like
It is the best video without question. It's so good. What a gift.
What a
But I
fucking.
think we should move along.
Well, you
We've got
are
a little bit
in a
more.
time crunch, Josiah.
I'm in a time crunch. I've only got 45 more minutes. That actually isn't enough time, to be honest.
Okay.
I was hoping to find some parodies of the song.
Oh wow, you hoped for
And
that.
I did. That's the kind of thing I hope for. And I did. However, they are written only. So there's a website called amiright.com that I believe is like Internet 1.0.
Wow.
It looks like it's been around for quite a while, and the design is terrible. Since the year 2000. I think I would consider that Web 1.0. So there's two written only parodies. One of them is really bad in like a boring way, and then one of them is really bad in I think probably a good way. But let's start with the real Josie. So the person who's uploaded this, Dustin Silver, I'm sure he's really proud of this and wants his name on here. So
Yeah,
Dustin Silver wrote this.
You always got to credit your sources.
So put this on his LinkedIn or whatever he's doing now. I don't know the date of this was uploaded. This song's called The Real Josie. Okay, this isn't very good, but hey, whatever. I just wrote it in like 5 minutes, so don't bitch at me, he writes. So these are the lyrics. Yeah, my girlfriend, I just wish I only had one, 'cause I am way damn pathetic to get with one of them. I am just one joke, like no one else. The call me names like loser and dumbass just because, yeah, just because. Yeah, all my friends have girls all over them, and it doesn't seem to matter that I'm constantly alone. My life is one big joke to everyone. They call me names like loser.
Oh.
Now, this is where self-deprecating humor can sometimes just become like suicidal.
Yeah, this is a cry for help, or this is like an incel, like manifesto. Either way, I'm concerned.
One of the ones later is, yeah, my girlfriend lives on the internet because I'm so ugly, fat, incest girls. They won't go out with me. I am one big joke to everyone. They laugh and call me dickwad and dweeb just because.
Yo.
And then he says, I know that everything really sucks.
Oh my God.
This is depressed. Dustin, are you okay?
I show up in real life and she looks at me like I'm nothing. I see her pretty face and she sprays me with a bottle of mace. Yo,
See, the mace part makes me think, okay, he is joking. at
like
least.
that'd be funny. Like this idea of like, oh, I'm kind of hapless and like, you know,
That's like
girls-
a Weird Al sort of dark joke. But
Yeah.
even leading up to that, she looks at me like I'm nothing. Like, that's so dark.
no. But I just like the idea of like ladies be macing as.
I think this other one is much better. This was uploaded by Drewster the Rooster, who already is funny even in
Ooh.
his in his name on here. And this song title is called Rosie, and then in parentheses, anus.
Oh, I see where he's going with this.
I never seem to get a good response when I write parodies about poo, but smeg it. What is that? Is that old internet lingo? Smeg it?
Well, no, I think. The way I read that is, but smeg it is. Like I envisioned that they forgot to put the is on the end. Like my brain filled it in, and that they're talking about smegma. But I mean, who knows?
Well, on Urban Dictionary, smeg it is to tell someone to dispose of an item or throw it in your direction or to run away from a situation that will get you in trouble. And this definition was uploaded in 2007 by God of Atheism. So, you know that's some internet lingo right there.
All right, so we're going to say that's Yahoo and smeg it moving forward. These are important new slang terms to emerge from this episode.
And I want you to take on this one because I think this is a better parody.
Oh, well, thanks so much, man. My back end, a burning hole makes it so hard to drive, and it gets sore and infected when I've eaten lots of fries. Don't laugh at my poor ring, please. Don't you know that eating Mexican-style spicy tacos is a no? Yeah, that's a no. This is good.
That is good. I also feel like this could be the original song. Like these things are happening in the original with his diet and lifestyle. Definitely, he's got some runny poo.
Yeah, see, this guy's looking at a long john type situation. And my back end tried Prep H and anusol, but it's still a bad experience when sitting on the bowl. And it's so bad it fills me with anger. Oh, I wish there was another way to poo transfer. This is good. Drewster the Rooster's got jokes, man. Yo, Drewster the Rooster has a lot of parodies on this site.
Well, I just wanted to add that he keeps going, but ultimately, instead of I know that everything will be fine, he says, I know defecation, no defecation, no defecation, defecation will be fine. Which is really, I don't know if that's the right amount of syllables. It's breaking my brain to even try to piece it together.
Yeah, that's tough, man.
So
he also has a cover of The Who's My Generation called Some Penetration. He has multiple Blink-182 parodies. So when we get around to Carousel, perhaps we can revisit his parody called.
Is it called Anusol?
No, it's called Something Swell, which, spoiler alert, I think it might be about a shitty dick.
All right.
This is great. This guy's got so many great parodies.
All right, well, let's keep going because we're still not even in the covers. This is just terrible, and I'm not going to play most of it. But someone has uploaded, and even I was just thinking right now, how is Weird Al the only parodist other than the one that we love? I forget what his name is, but he has 3 different usernames. But truly, Weird Al's the only respected person who parodies songs. Similarly, there's not that many people who get a lot of respect for doing crank calls. I know there's a handful of famous people, but there's also, for every good person, there's 100 terrible wannabes.
You know what? I swear to fucking God, I had this thought apropos of nothing, and I can picture where I was standing last week, maybe Thursday, walking into the alley where the entrance to my work is, and I just started thinking how did Weird Al maintain our collective respect? And he deserves it. He totally fucking deserves it. But he's a parody artist and a polka artist. And we've all decided that he's the only one that gets to be those things, and that no one ever makes fun of Weird Al. The most hardened cynic would not be Weird Al actually sucks. Everyone agrees that Weird Al is good. Everyone. Exactly. Don't fucking at me on this.
I mean, I will say that Weird Al also objectively is insanely corny and honestly kind of bad sometimes, but I still love him and think he's good and want to encourage him to keep doing it. So it's just very bizarre.
Yeah.
But along the lines, I can't remember. There's some. Oh fuck! Shouldn't have even brought it up. But there's some there's a few YouTube famous very funny crank call people. And I know in the 90s it was the Jerky Boys. I assume it's probably not funny anymore. But there's a current. I can't remember what they're called.
Imagine buying a tape of crank calls, which is what our generation did. You know.
Well, and I've been fighting talking about Gob and Another Joe this entire episode because they had an amazing Much Music appearance. But as seen on TV, that split also ends with crank calls that are pretty funny, but still not that funny. What I'm trying to get at is like, even more than parodies, it's hard to do crank calls that are actually funny. And this one that I'm about to play is horrible, but I have to play it because I found it. So this is uploaded by Battle Fucks on Bandcamp, and it's called Late Night Fiddle Fucking. And it's a drunk Josie gets an earful of Blink-182 references. Now, I think the main issue with this is that you can't ever hear whoever's on the other side of the call.
What?
I'm just going to hit play. Those sounds at the start are
Classy woman.
all you get.
Hello? Josie? I'm too drunk to drive. Will you take me home? Josie? Josie? Will you take me to Amigos just because? Josie? Josie? When I get home, will you be watching Vacation? I hear another man. I hear him sobbing.
It's so uncomfortable because you never hear a response. And he says amigos instead of sombreros. Maybe he's referring to Saskatoon.
It's entirely possible that they, no, because they're from Terre Haute, Indiana. I have no idea how you pronounce that.
So anyways, that was just really upsetting and bad. And I think it's a good place to step into the cover zone.
Well, wait, do you think we should give them another chance by listening to another one of the crank calls from their hit album, Crank Calls? Jalen, a hardcore Waka Flocka Gucci Mane fan, gets a message inquiring about her CDs.
I think no.
Okay, I feel the same. Sometimes you just got to check in, though.
Yeah, I appreciate the question. And I noticed that you really are the one trying to digress lately. It's crazy. What is happening to us?
I don't know, man. Just like we can't be the same people. I think we need to show evolution over the course of these 155 episodes, or else, you know, the nation will get bored and move on.
It's true. That you're concerned about them, unlike the protagonist in Josie, who just thinks everything will be fine no matter what.
No, I've learned my lesson from my Josie years, and I'm a much more considerate podcast host now.
So, when Blink-182 announced their tour with Weezer, there was a tour announcement party, and a mariachi band came out.
Oh my God!
Played this.
Yeah, my girlfriend takes me home like a and she doesn't get all jealous when I hang out with the guys. She laughs at my dumb jokes when no one does. She brings me Mexican food from Sombrero just because. Yeah, just because.
I mean, we're not really going to top that, probably.
No, that is fucking magic. But wait, when does Mark come in? Because Mark's like,
I know, it says Mark is featured, but I don't know.
he comes in around like 1:40. I just want to listen to Mark. So he comes in and does the harms, I think.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's not Mark.
Yeah, like sorry, 2:40.
Oh, 2:40. Okay, yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, because I was trying to find that earlier. I was like, why is Mark listed? Okay, let's hear Mark.
Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
So him going up there makes me think that he didn't know it was going to happen, which also reminds me of those wonderful Rich Brian and Post Malone videos where they prank each other, which are my favorite. But then I just realized, is mariachi band's like sole function to just surprise people with things? Are they like the ultimate prank style of music?
Yeah, well, that's actually how they're traditionally used in Mexico. I think, especially like in Canada, where we're not as consistently exposed to Mexican culture. No, I think it's an accepted fact that mariachi music is like prank music. So, but for Mexicans as well, it's just how like you constantly surprise your friends by having a mariachi band cover songs that they wrote.
Or you like, I think a great way to utilize that sort of surprise element of it would be if you had to serve someone some papers.
Oh, right, yeah.
You did it with the mariachi band.
Served by mariachi, yeah. Dude, it sucks that we started here because to me this is like the marching band from last week's episode where it was just like, yo, music is magical. This song is fucking great. And I know that there's a half an hour left of me not feeling that way probably.
There's something that I don't know if I should play.
Oh, that's a yes, man.
So this one is so fucked. I don't think it counts as a cover, but I forgot it. I had pasted it after that and just written very, very insane video, and I forgot what it was, and I just clicked it open, and it's so fucked. So the username is Janu.
Yeah.
This was uploaded today, October 10th.
What?
It has no views
October 10th,
at all.
2018. Like it was uploaded.
Yeah, and including when I watched it earlier today, it still has no views.
Okay.
Now, I searched Blink Josie on YouTube, and I got to the very bottom of YouTube. Again, as I always do. Now, there's nothing that says Blink or Josie, but the title of this video is, "Oh Yeah, My Girlfriend." Okay?
Okay, so somewhere the algorithm has like linked
because I'm
sure there are Blink Josie videos. So it's so interesting to think that like that's how machine learning works, but like there's a lot of Blink Josie cover videos that probably have the lyrics and the description. And so it's pulling all that information and eventually not surfacing it for you, but like hiding it in plain sight for you.
I just don't really want you to see what this looks like until you've heard some of it. So I'm going to hit play first and then I'm going to hit enter.
Okay.
So that's what it sounds like. And it's like, I think like maybe a middle-aged cam woman dancing in an upright camera in like a...
What the fuck, dude?
Look, I was just searching Blink Josie, and now this lady's like doing booty dancing into her upright iPhone in the middle of like a grandma's living room.
This is
with this
very strange. She looks like she's having a great time.
Yeah, like it's really a nice video, but I don't really understand this upload whatsoever or how it found its way to me.
I don't know, man. Janu's only other upload is also Muha girlfriend Bano Lona, and it's like another upright video, but this is like of a woman talking. This is so weird.
Yeah, it's almost a little bit too terrifying to continue.
I think so.
Trying to dissect it, but I had just opened it and I don't know. I didn't know what to do, so
yeah.
I just had to play it.
So the other girlfriend, the title is in Hindi, and it is "Have I Become Girlfriends Not?" I cannot parse this. This video is like, this feels like simultaneously, again, this person seems to be having a great time, but there's something like quietly haunted about it, and I don't like how it's
like
making
the
me feel.
The Blumhouse aesthetic to it, and
yeah,
feeling that like, why did YouTube give this to me and no one else has seen it except for us? It's just so weird. And
she's gonna haunt us now. Like we're both like, I'm gonna message you tomorrow morning and be like, hey man, I had some like weird dreams last night. Did you?
Everywhere I look, I see the phrase Janu.
Right. And then we like start the pod next week. We like do our little preamp, and then we say, okay, you're recording. Janu. Janu. It's like all we can say. We're just like panicked.
Yeah.
So now if you've listened to the podcast, the curse of Janu has also befallen you.
For something even creepier, this one reminded me of a Jack Johnson kind of take on it. So this is uploaded by Maximilian Groblicki.
Cool.
Which I don't know if this is his real name or not.
I mean, it could be a human name. Max Grublicki is like not as unreasonable, but it's when you really type it all out. But that's just like a William Belichko scenario.
It sounds like a music video director's name.
Dude, right. Oh, yeah, like Lambie and Crouton or whatever that dynamic duo was.
They got a great production house over there.
Exactly.
Lambie and Crouton.
It's the plus sign, too.
So here's Maximilian Grublicki.
Is he shy? Oh, there he is.
Takes me home when I'm too drunk to drive.
Oh, he's shy, all right.
And she doesn't get all jealous when I hang out with her guys. She likes wine, jokes, and no one does. She brings me Mexican food from sombreros just because. Yeah, just because. My girlfriend likes UL and DHC.
What's the word for that? Like vocal
what it
affectation. That's like, so
Yeah,
you got
it's,
fest voice and then you have like it's Dave.
I've seen it on Twitter because it's the quintessential example is the and I can't stop falling in love with you. Actually, it almost is Adam Sandler, but people call it singing in cursive.
Oh yeah, that. So he's like full lot of big loops in that delivery there. Holy shit!
Yeah, gross and bad.
You know, it's been a while since we've talked about this, but like these like acoustic covers of songs that are dumb is so like. Just imagine, like, takes me home when I'm too drunk to drive.
And I'm lacking in the bud.
Yeah. Like, it's like, don't cursive me about your fucking busted dick.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good cover that we just heard there.
No, no thank you,
but
Maximilian.
This is 1 year ago. This is by Haunt XR. And on their SoundCloud, they've used the photo of Alyssa Milano of the Brett Kavanaugh trial. Well, they've used the actual Alyssa Milano from the video, but just reminding you who she is. And this person actually has 10,000 followers on SoundCloud.
Holy shit.
And on Twitter. So this is like a serious producer. And this is like some sick fucking... Well, hear this. Sorry, I kind of got lost. I could have just kept playing that.
It really sounds like, I mean, first of all, it's great, but it definitely sounds like the music that plays at the end of like a really like slick like NPR Gimlet podcast. Like, can you just put it on again for a second?
Yeah.
Like, just imagine it's like, oh, okay, and that's our final thoughts on Josie. I want to thank Josiah Hughes for doing the research for this episode. As always, thanks to Ashley Carter for appearing as a guest. This episode's sponsors include Blood Brothers Brewery. Be sure to use the code Friend of the Pod when you order from them for a 10% discount. We're taking next week off to recalibrate and research, but we look forward to joining you in 2 weeks' time with another new episode of Blink 155. Like, that's what we should fucking do, right?
Maybe that's the best genre of music, actually, now that you say it.
Podcast bed tracks.
Yeah.
This is good.
This is really good. You kind of did ruin it, but...
Oh. All right.
That's all right.
It's fine.
That's all right. I forgive you.
Thanks, man.
But yeah, no, that was cool. And these are kind of in no good order, but I'm just going to keep blasting through them. I have skipped a couple because of the time crunch and because mostly we're just getting cool stuff today, not cringe stuff. There's still some cringe, but we've been plugging the Sclusies all damn day.
Mm-hmm.
And you might remember we once did a Sclusie where we dissected the other Blink-182 podcasts that are out there.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a classic.
One of which is entitled Take Off Your Pants and Podcast.
It's a great title.
Yeah, whatever. Not as good as Blink-155, in my opinion. But anyways, so another thing that is still going to happen, I promise you, but we've promised that I'm going to start producing my own covers for the Patreon. Turns out that this podcast actually did cover Josie.
So wait, so you're saying, in addition, so we haven't joked about this in a long time, but so for those of you who are seeking still in this episode, when we started this podcast, we did no like market research to be like, I wonder what the Blink-182 podcast landscape looks like. We were like, we are the first people to ever think of combining a popular band like Blink and the exciting new medium of podcasting. And then immediately, and it was actually over time, it was like this slow reveal of like, oh shit, there's like another Blink podcast that kind of does.
Like we thought there was just one other one at first.
Yeah.
And then we're like, every week we'll find something where we're like, oh, we have no ideas at all.
No, we've never had an original thought in our lives. But thankfully we're both, like loud enough and have enough of a platform by, I guess, the
just
gift
the
of
way
our birthright.
Stack up.
Yeah, exactly. Just by the way that society is sort of weighted in favor of people like you and I. So we get to do this. Anyway, we did promise at the $500 a month tier of our Patreon that you would start recording covers, and we've blown past that.
Well, it's gonna. I promise you this. Not only is it happening, but I'll do quote unquote back pay on the missing covers.
Wow. Okay, so, that's good. That's promising.
So don't worry about that.
But you're saying we already ripped this idea off from one of the other podcasts that we ripped off.
Yeah. So let's hear Take Off Your Pants and Podcast's take on Josie.
I feel like we've stolen so much from them that like I don't want to like be rude. So I'll just say I initially thought that was going to be like a motion picture soundtrack, like the Radiohead song at the end of Kid A. That's like sort of a normal pop song, but there's just like tons of like fake harp over top of it. I was hoping like that's where it was going to go. Like it was just going to continue to be like this sort of synthy version of a like swimming in shit Radiohead song, and you just hear this like voice emerge from the ether. Instead of a little festy, I guess.
I mean, yeah, I guess that is what I would say is as a cover, I didn't love that it had the pop punk vocals. Like I liked that it was doing something different musically, and when it came in, it almost sounded like Atari Teenage Riot to me or something.
Oh yeah.
But then, yeah, I don't know. I always don't like fast vocals, but didn't really feel like it fit with everything.
No, imagine if it was like a full on in that. What's that genre? What's Atari Teenage Riot like?
Oh, what's it called again?
Cyberpunk. Is there a name for that?
Didn't they have their own name?
They probably did. What was the name of that guy? Alec Eiffel, right? They were. Alec Empire.
Still around.
Digital hardcore.
Yeah. Digital hardcore, that's what it was. Yes, there we go. Yeah, I don't know. Did anyone ever make music in that genre? Like,
I feel like there was some other. Like, do you remember there was this great band from Hamilton called Sailboats Are White? that was kind of like this thing. Like I do think when all of a sudden it became like pretty affordable to get like a cool, like not just a synth, but like a drum machine and stuff. I feel like you'd go to shows and there'd be like a kid opening the show doing this thing. But there's just like...
So basically what we're saying is that we wish that the other Blink-182 podcast in their cover of Josie had taken a more Alec Empire inspired digital hardcore approach.
Yeah, that's our note.
If there's just one note. Well, speaking of things that are hardcore, so this song is definitely a go-to for like normie pop punk bands. I've skipped over a bunch because they're just so normie and straightforward and plain. But it's also hilariously a hardcore band covered it, and I think it might sound either terrible or good. I can't figure it out. So this band,
but not a digital hardcore band.
No, just like normal kind of hardcore. So this is Domestic War. I mean, the cover of the 7-inch is a guy wearing a balaclava and gritting his teeth. It's like so like, we're so hardcore.
Yes, Domestic War, and it's like in the like it's like graffiti, like what's the fucking like the paint pen font?
Oh yeah. I can't remember anything lately. My brain is being destroyed by this podcast.
It's bad. I'm sorry, just real quick aside, because there won't be a way to come back to this. When you click on the digital hardcore entry on Wikipedia, the only photo is of Atari Teenage Riot. Like there's a full entry, but it's also like, there's kind of just the one band.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I noticed the other bands that were mentioned were like mostly industrial. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Anyway, moving on. My apologies. Domestic
War. Back to analog hardcore. Let's hear Domestic War's take on Josie. I'm just gonna pause right there because I do want to do a quick aside. The intro, especially when it's done hardcore style, reminds me so much of my favorite and a truly important Vancouver band that no one really knows outside of Vancouver called Reserve 34. And I was just listening to their album again today because of that. It's called Rain City Games. It's the first album that Jesse Gander recorded from 2000. But listen to the intro of Reserve 34. It's similar to Josie. Oh, that's not... Here we go. Oh, my God. I'm trying to do an aside quickly, and it's not working. Okay, here we go. I mean, you could hear. Yeah. You could go into My Girlfriend from there. Yeah. So I just wanted to shout out Reserve 34 quickly, and back to Domestic War.
Fuck yes. Yo, Domestic War owns.
I kind of don't like it at all.
Really?
But I don't know why. I feel like it's just like, I feel like I can tell they're having fun, but it's a kind of fun that irritates me.
Which is just like when other people are having it?
I think so. I don't know. I feel like it's just a bit annoying. But it also did kind of sound like fucked up songs that I like. So.
Yeah, that's the thing about fucked up is like it's just Mike writing pop punk songs and then Damien being Damien.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's okay, but I mostly found it pretty cringy.
I wonder because this was a split with a band called In the Day, and In the Day's cover is Suffer by Bad Religion. So, oh no, Suffer by 100 Demons. I don't care.
Oh, that's better.
I was like, oh, cool.
I also like really like clean cut jock hardcore, so I don't know why that bothers me, but it just does. I think it might be because when you're doing jock hardcore, it already is so hilarious, but you have to pretend that it's not, and you have to keep up this artifice that you're serious, even though everything about you is so deeply and inherently funny. But then when you break the fifth wall, maybe even, by covering Blink-182 and doing this wink, then you're ruining the whole ruse that it wasn't a joke to begin with.
Hold on, I just want to make sure I understand here. So, okay, in hardcore, You're always breaking the fourth wall, right? Because you're constantly addressing the crowd, letting the crowd take this mic.
Yeah.
So is the fifth wall is like that you're cool? Like, is that?
I think so. I don't know. I didn't really.
No, I like it. I think it's a really
sort of
interesting.
blacked out.
I think it's a really interesting way of thinking about the like positioning, not just of hardcore bands, but of any band, right?
Well, it's like Terror is really funny and also really good, but like good, clean fun is not funny nor good. Because I think, again, it's like trying to be a parodist, and you can't do it because it already is self-parody. It can't be done.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so I just think in this case, it's just, I don't know. It just made me feel weird.
I'm sorry it made you feel weird, Josiah. Josiah.
Thank you. I see, even I forgot. We've got 2 covers left. And the second last one, I don't know all these people, but I do know Legs, kind of. And she's like a sort of Vancouver area punk legend, and she's big time person from the Alf House and everything. I wish I would have prepared more to say because I know people listening will probably show this to her, but she used to be in a band called Hairy Legs, and they covered Josie at the Kent House in Ottawa in 2010. And this is exactly so, like, pop punk bands love to do this cover and make it as slick as possible and as huge and fucking easy core as possible, but this is the kind of pop punk that I want to hear, which is like a band playing in a basement and playing it like this. So this is Hairy Legs covering Josie in Ottawa.
Play it right.
That's how I want to hear it done by a pop punk band.
Yeah,
that's how it
that's
should
fucking
be done.
perfect.
That's like what it should be, not like making it sound huge or I don't know. That's just like, and I think that's again what resonates probably with both of us about Blink-182, that other people seem to get something else from it, but this is what I like about it, like the sloppiness and feeling like I'm about to say something so Sam-ish, but feeling like you're singing along with your friends in a basement is like really the
You
vibe.
fucking loser.
I know, it's really bad.
Oh my god, that was disgusting.
But yeah, so those Hairy Legs, I think that's like, I wonder if they ever recorded it or anything. I know they're not a band anymore, but Legs is in a bunch of really cool bands all the time.
Yeah, that's sick. I mean, also, like you mentioned, like the video is like such a perfect basement show. Like it's obviously a piece of shit unfinished basement, and you've got the like random collections of Christmas lights kind of hanging, and everyone's backlit, and it's just like people are having the nicest time.
Imagine if there was a house show with a finished basement.
Yeah, there's like a pool table in the back. It's the games room.
It's like the man cave.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of like
I
old
see
neon.
Reviver in a man cave.
Yeah, old neon beer signs.
Now, for the final cover, this is I'm so thankful that I found this one.
Yeah.
Because this is really what I...
Sorry, I just want to say someone should start a DIY space in a basement called the Man Cave, because the idea of seeing Reviver play the Man Cave in Philadelphia is... And it's got like all the posts, like it's got the like the Last Supper, but it's all the like famous gangsters like Tony Soprano.
Yeah, there's like Pickle Rick, glow in the dark posters and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's the boy cave. That's not the man cave.
Oh god, yeah, that's really funny. Hey, the difference between a cool basement and a lame basement is just whether or not it's been finished.
That's true. It's so simple.
Just don't finish your basement and you'll be cool
Forever.
As soon as you finish it, you're corny.
Yeah, you're finished. Hey.
So this is really like, I feel like this cover section is delivering on a lot of promises of what we want from this podcast. There's been basement pop punk.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a cool EDM cover. There's been a very creepy lady dancing exclusively for us. And this is really the dream fully realized.
What? Oh no!
It's not actually who you think it is, but this is the person's stage name.
Well, it's great.
So
okay, so that's but it seems possible because he's a bit of a R.I.P. He was a little bit of a weirdo. So
I love that it's not the first time we've mentioned this name because previously we said Rope and Peace for some reason.
yeah, because we were talking about happiness.
So this artist's stage name is Philip Seymour Hoffman,
Mm-hmm.
and you can find this at philipseymourdustinhoffman.bandcamp.com. And so what Philip Seymour Hoffman has done here, this was released in 2012, is a 13-minute ambient neoclassical composition cover of Josie.
Yes. Which we're going to play in its entirety, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to make you late for your space movie.
So in Impose magazine, he premiered it way back in whatever year, whatever I just said, back when premiering things actually meant something. But his response was, or his explanation was, I didn't sleep for a couple of days and instead made a 2-movement, 12.5-minute minimal cover of Blink-182's Josie. Shit, I fucking love my Blink. So yeah, I'm going to skip around a little bit because it's quite ambient at the start. But let's start it off first and hear what it's like. Let's go on this journey together. I mean, knowing what it is, you can kind of imagine that it's the intro. This is a few minutes in. And then eventually it builds up to this.
What a miraculous journey that I look forward to going on in its entirety.
Yeah, I know.
Like, this truly exemplifies, I think, like how much this comes back to, I think, what we've been talking about a lot in these last few episodes of like Blink somehow touches everything. Like, it's not just about pop punk. So this person who makes, what the fuck is that? What did you call it? Neoclassical?
Well, this is like sort of neoclassical. Not really, though. It's kind of not really. It's kind of just like tiny mixtapes, experimental music.
Right. But still, like, that's, you know, that's their trip. But clearly, like, Blink is, like, embedded in them somehow, and they thought this would be a fun way of expressing it. Like, Blink is everything.
Well, the other funny thing is we've been talking so much about their importance within the context of like current internet culture, but this is from 2012, and this he was most active like in the late 2000s, and already people were sort of like knowingly embracing Blink as something that kind of mattered to them and was important American music. So really, it's not just like a modern meme thing. It also was within an underground context back then too.
That's so sick. Fuck yeah. All right, so Josiah, what are your final thoughts on Josie by Blink-182?
I feel like there might be some backlash that we sort of ruined their favorite lyrics about an ideal girlfriend. But I still, despite the critiques of the lyrics, I think it's such a good and fun and kind of just like timeless and classic song. And obviously it's great. And Blink-182 is great. And Blink-155 is great.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't sure. But I feel the same. You know, I think even like poring over and picking apart the lyrics, I mean, we have to do it contractually. But I think it's
with NPR.
Yeah, they expect a certain amount of content per week, and we've sold our souls to satisfy them. So I think to me, it's endemic of just like anything that you love, you can kind of make fun of the foibles in. And there's definitely like extremely, the kind of core idea of this song is so fucking goofy, but that's what makes it so like perfectly emblematic of what was great and fun about this moment of this band. And like some of those old videos, I just want to like live inside of. And so for that, I am also grateful. And I'm grateful to this song for being like basically a perfect pop punk song.
That's an interesting way to pronounce pop punk.
Well, we will dissect that on the next episode.
This is really a pronunciation podcast.
Yeah, more than anything.
So to all of our new people, I hope that you understand what this podcast is. If you're listening because you like the song Josie, I hope you understand now and you're like, oh yeah, this is an accessible thing to listen to. I'd love to dig into these hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
As well as signing up at patreon.com/Blink155.
Thank you for your money. I want to thank Josiah Hughes for doing the research for this episode. As always, thanks to Ashley Carter for appearing as a guest. This episode's sponsors include Blood Brothers Brewery. Be sure to use the code FRIENDOFTHEPOD when you order from them for a 10% discount. We're taking next week off to recalibrate and research, but we look forward to joining you in 2 weeks' time with another new episode of Blink-155.